And as to court reform and constitutional reform in Israel, you know, it depends who's doing it. It's like Rabbi Ben Yelon said, you know, and his father was a Supreme Court justice, and he said, you know, it depends who's enacting the reforms. If the left decided that they wanted the Ten Commandments to be Israel's constitution, he would vote against it. Not because he's against the Ten Commandments, but because he doesn't trust the left's implementation of them. And therefore, it's very important when you look at different positions being put forth about constitutional reform in Israel that you have to ask yourself, well, who's doing it? So one of the organizations that have been most behind constitutional reform in Israel is the Israel Democracy Institute, which is a far-left European financed think tank in Israel. And what they want to do is reproduce the European Union's constitution, which has failed so bitterly in Europe, where you have a constitutional amendment about animal rights. I mean, it's absolutely insane, or animal testing. I mean, you look, there's one constitution that's done really, really well, stood the test of time, turned the United States into the oldest republic on the books. If you want to use somebody as an example of the kind of constitutional model you want, you would do worse than take a look at the U.S. Constitution, which is, like 10 pages long. 3 main paragraphs, and that's it. The Bill of Rights tacked on at the end, but that certainly wasn't the point of the Constitution. The point of the Constitution was separation of powers and limitations of powers. Right? So those are the kinds of things that we need, and unfortunately I've seen 2 versions of the Israeli Constitution. One is horrible and one is verbose.